So in an effort to kick people in the back who are leaving their state because they've completely ruined it, California is instituting a 10-year wealth exit tax, which is hilariously terrible. They decimate the state and they try and punish you for voting with your feet and getting the hell out of the state. By the way, it's just funny when you listen to Adam Carolla talk about California, or it would be funny if it wasn't so tragic, but just listen to him talk about trying to put a shed up in the backyard, and after the 50th inspector finds some small dumb bylaw being violated, he just says, screw it, I'm not doing it, which then prevents the property from being worth more than it could have been and prevents businesses who produce goods and offer services that help with building and placing sheds. Well, they suffer too because of that nonsense. It's always worth keeping in mind the type of harm these regulations do, and California has no shortage of them. So the lawmakers in California torch the state, and when people naturally say, screw this, I'm leaving, they want to then implement a 10-year wealth tax to leave. Just brilliant. And if I were other states, I would be upset by that. I'd be saying, don't diminish the wealth of someone coming here and setting up shop. Don't do that and siphon off their money to only put it into the black hole that is your state, because that hurts them as well. But now California has been experiencing a bit of an exodus already. Joe Rogan famously said he's out, and the lawmaker that wants to implement a wealth tax, Rob Bonta, is saying it won't cause an exodus. So there's a bit of trouble on his part from seeing reality, it seems, and it's funny. I guess this guy doesn't really remember when California implemented a luxury tax in the 90s. They said it won't have any ill effects. It'll be great. That rich guy buys a yacht, we get a big chunk of change, and we get to fund our pet projects. Well, it didn't work out that way. What happened was all those rich people, who, believe it or not, actually are sensitive to price changes, stopped buying all these luxury items. And guess what happened? All the manufacturing, production, investment, and the jobs that surrounded those industries disappeared. Massive numbers of middle-class people who worked to clean boats, clean jets, clean diamonds, blah, 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 you name it. Tons of those jobs just vanished, all because government is way too short-sighted to see that you can't implement a luxury tax and not have some sort of unintended consequence. It seems government as a whole is just blind to that concept completely. Well, the thing I would ask this lawmaker is, what exactly does he think is going to happen here? If they implement a wealth tax and a wealth tax upon leaving the state, a few things are going to happen. Number one, all the rich people may flee. They're gone. And with them, just as you saw with an artificial decrease in demand for luxury items in the 90s, with those rich people are going to go a bunch of jobs. They're taking their investments, their purchases, and their businesses elsewhere. The lawmakers will essentially be screwing over the middle class and lower class again. Now, if they make that wealth tax upon leaving California high enough, they may stop an exodus. That's a possibility. The rich people may not leave if that wealth tax, or if that wealth exit tax, I guess you would call it, if that's high enough, those rich people might not leave. That's possible. But there's two problems with that, in my estimation. Number one, not for nothing, you're keeping those people financial prisoners to your horrible state. I think there is something terrible that can be said about that. And number two, and this is actually the more important one, once you've created a situation where your wealth is taxed above a certain amount and you can't leave the state without paying another huge tax, who in their right mind will ever move to California again? Especially if they're going there to say, hey, I'm going to set up shop and I think this business is going to do well and I think I'll become wealthy. Let's go to California. There's no way anyone's going to do that, because the next thing they're going to say to themselves is, well, if I do that and I'm successful and I ever want to leave there, I'm going to be paying possibly a boatload to just move across state lines. So who would say to themselves, yeah, let's go to California so I can become a taxed prisoner there and I'll never be able to leave unless I want to pay this wealth exit tax? No one would do that. California is insane, and a part of me hopes that they go through with it all. Just provide everyone else with a wonderful example of how to destroy a state, because so far it seems like that is precisely what California is doing. But that's all for now. Like and subscribe. Take it easy.